Hello friends of 1000 PS. Today I got to try out the brand new Triumph Scrambler 400X, and in this video I'm gonna tell you all about it. All right, everyone. So I'm here at the press launch of the new Speed 400 and the new Scrambler 400X. So I got to try out both brand new one-cylinder 398cc bikes by Triumph. So it's a build from scratch, brand new motorcycle, or two new motorcycles, which of course is great, because if you wanted to enter the Triumph world, you had to, get a larger displacement bike like the Trident 660 or a Street Twin 900. And for many it was either, too strong, so they had to limit the power, or so they just didn't need this power, or entry-level riders, for example, also. And now you have 400cc bikes that you can just buy and go off. And the best thing about these bikes is, of course, the price compared to the higher displacement bikes. So for this Triumph Scrambler 400X, you only have to pay around 6,000 bucks. I don't know how much it is in your country. In Germany, it costs 5,900. So check out the price. It should be somewhere around this. So this is a really reasonable price, especially if you look at this bike. Look at the components, look at the finish, look at all the sweet details it has. I am so stoked, really, because I saw it on the photos before and I saw the price and I was like, okay, I'm sure if you see it in real, it's gonna probably look a little bit cheap here and there, but it really doesn't. So hands down, if you look at all the fine little details, like it even has the finned head, the blackened parts on the engine. It has this twin exhaust. It has that really typical Triumph silhouette, that classical shaped tank. It even has the chain on the right side, if you remember the Bonwell models. And here on the Scrambler, you of course have some additional accessories. So the Speed 400 is the more modern classic roadster, and here we have that urban adventure Scrambler model. So you, for example, have the protection for the headlight, you have the hand guards, you have you have a lot of parts made from steel, for example the footrests, and you can also take out the padding, the rubber padding, if you go off-road, for example. And you have a different exhaust, as I mentioned. You have a higher and wider bar, so this is 3 centimeters wider than the one on the Speed 400. You have that bar padding here. So a lot of details that also add up on the weight, of course, opposed to the Speed 400, but it still is only at 179 kilograms. So thanks to the one cylinder, it's a really light bike and very accessible. The engine is the same as on the Speed 400, is that one cylinder 398cc engine. It has 40 horsepower at around 8,000 RPM and 37 Newton meters at around 6,500 RPM. And the engine is really nice, very linear. You really feel that the mid-range is where you have the most power, and it's the most fun to ride for sure. So from 6,000 RPM, it's just a blast to ride it. And on a ride like this we had today, this is really where it showed you actually don't really need more power. And you just have so much fun. And these are the press rides I actually like the most, because you can really squeeze the bike, and that's really great. And here we have a seat height of 835 millimeters. So let's check out the geometry. It's quite much higher than the Speed 400. So if you are smaller, then you would probably lean more towards the Speed 400. I'm 5'6" or 1 meter 69 centimeters. And I reach the ground with my tiptoes, but pretty easily. So for me, it's totally fine. But for more security and more secure stand, the Speed 400, which has a seat height of 790 millimeters, here 835 millimeters, yeah, is even lower. And yeah, the knee angle is super relaxed. The footrests are more towards the ground than on the Speed 400. You sit super upright. The seating position is very, very comfortable. After a long day in the saddle, I felt perfectly fine. Nothing hurt. So that's also a great sign. And then we did a little off-road or gravel road session. And also the standing position is really nice on that bike. As you can tell, like I can really squeeze the tank, the 13-liter tank, by the way, with my knees. We have a extra padding here, and yeah, it's a great standing position if you want to take some gravel roads here and there. Which brings me to the suspension, because on the Scrambler we have 150 millimeters front and rear of travel. On the Speed, it's 140 and 130, so it's a little bit less. So, of course, this is not meant for crazy off-road, but for some gravel roads, this is really great. And the suspension is fully by Endurance. It's an Indian brand. And not only the look is great, but it really works well. So I also asked like taller and heavier journalists on this ride how they liked it, and they were all really, really happy about it. The responsiveness is great. It gives you a great feel of stability. So really great job on the fork, but also on the rear. It really soaked up the bumps on the ground, and also on the gravel road it worked really well. And the preload is adjustable in the rear. For brakes, we have 320 millimeter discs in the front. So it's by Bybre, which is a sub-brand of Brembo. That's why it's called Bybre. And I love the brake on the Speed 400 because it's not too aggressive, but it works extremely well, and you could really dose it very well. On the Scrambler 400, I missed a little bit of the responsiveness. I thought it was a little bit squashy, if you know what I mean. So in like emergency situations, or like when we did the mountain road where you sometimes really had to brake fast, you really needed to grab the brake really hard in order to get that sufficient braking power. I would wish a little bit more bite on this brake, but I asked Triumph and they said that they have different brake pads here. So if I was you and you would buy this bike, I would just change the brake pads, and then you should, be more happy, I think. But for off-road, of course, it makes sense that you don't want an aggressive brake because you don't want to lose the front off-road. So we have ABS on board, we have traction control on board, developed with Bosch. So also here, very high quality components, and the ABS and the traction control you can disengage on the Scrambler model, and on the Speed 400 you can only disengage the traction control. Here you can disengage both by just clicking on the info button, go in the menu, and then select the off-road mode, which we did when we went on the gravel road, so you have more safety when you do some dirt riding. So that was really easy and intuitive. You have this analog and LCD display, a little LCD display there, which shows you the most important info, like for example, if your traction control is on or not. Also, how much gas you still have in there, how many revs, and so on. So the most important stuff, not too loaded with stuff, very easy to read, even in direct sunlight. And on the side, which is really nice, you have a USB-C socket to charge your phone or your navigation while riding. Yeah, so the Scrambler 400 comes in 3 different colors. You have this wonderful matte khaki green. There is also a carnival red, and also like a black with some silver. I personally love the green. You can leave a comment which one you like the best. And of course, typically for Triumph is that you can get a lot of accessories for it. So I think it's 25 parts that you can get, like a little windshield or some luggage options and some design details, other rearview mirrors or whatever. So there's a great choice of that, and you can make it even more individual for you. And yeah, all in all, for around $6,000, you get a really great bike, I have to say. The throttle, so my critique points are the throttle response is not super direct. There's a small delay in it, but you get used to it super easy. And as I mentioned, the brakes are not very strong on this bike. But other than that, really great details. We had so much fun riding today. For the handling on road, especially on the very twisty corners, you could feel that the Speed 400 is really made for it. It really wants to go in every corner. It goes into the corners by itself. Here you needed a little bit more effort with the handlebars. Totally fine, but not as agile as the Speed 400. So if you want to do like very twisty mountain roads, I would recommend more going towards the Speed 400. But if you want, this feels a lot more grown up and stable. So and you want to travel more or stuff like that, then I would go for the Scrambler. All right, I hope I mentioned everything. It was really such a blast riding these bikes. Also make sure to check out the other video about the Speed 400 and let me know which one would you choose and how do you like this concept. Should there be other manufacturers also doing bikes in that or more in that CC segment? Also especially in that retro design, because that's very rare. There's a little bit more scramblers, but not so much like the modern classic, like the Speed 400. So yeah, I would love to read that. And also, if you like, leave a comment, and I hope to see you at the next video. Take care. Bye bye.